This is episode 526 on the 27th of May 2022. A must win game, a do or die game. When have we heard this story? We have heard this in cricket when India is required to win a must win game to qualify for the knockouts and semi-finals. This has been seen a million times. It has been time and time again projected as a must win game. The players, the pseudo media, print media, electronic media, the pseudo experts, everyone saying that this is an important game if the team has to qualify into the next round. But it was hockey and not cricket. So the coverage was equally insignificant. The hype was equally insignificant. Nor did we interview the players to ask them whether it was a must win game for India to qualify into the next round of the Asia Cup. Nor was there any coverage at any point in time by the SPED media, that is PPED media, that is pseudo print, electronic and digital media. There was no coverage, yet India went on to beat Indonesia 16-0. It was a simple equation. If India needed to qualify into the next round, India had to beat Indonesia by a margin of 16-0 so that they could have more goals in the tournament than their counterparts, that is our neighboring country, which is like saying that the team needed to have more boundaries and sixes to win or qualify to the next round. Well, 16-0 is not a joke, considering that India needed to win by a margin of 16-0 to qualify for the Asia Cup knockouts and set up a date with either Korea or Malaysia. And it was done with ruthless aggression despite getting all the criticism for the match against Japan. We lost 2-5 against Japan, and all the PPED media said it was an immature play. The Indian team was not at its best. They allowed Japan to score goals or to have more circle penetrations, more penalty corners, and taking advantage of penalty corners. If this was cricket and this was the situation and we had beaten a team by this margin, so what is the equivalent of 16-0 in that sport? Well, it's difficult to say, but it's like saying win the match by 100 runs or win the match in, let's say, 7-8 overs to boost the run rate, or win the match by 10 wickets to boost the net run rate. Similarly, India needed to do this and they did it. But what happens once again, the coverage is limited. It gets a half a page, not even half a page, just one paragraph coverage. Another hockey tournament which goes under the radar and will get the bottom of the page in the PPED media showing selective bias. It got the bottom of the page coverage in the PPED media. It's an hockey tournament, but it's an independent hockey tournament, not part of the Asian Games. If this was the Asian Games and India had done this, then it would get all the coverage, though it would once again be masked by other sports. And that's what really baffles me. In fact, if you ask the question, does India have a national sport? No. Unofficially, a majority of them would say cricket. Officially, there is no national sport. But what's more fun? 60 minutes of hockey or 180 minutes of cricket, in which more than 15-20 minutes are wasted through advertisements and other things. And as I said before, as I said in an article 4 years ago, if you look at the umpires in cricket and if you look at the umpires in hockey, cricket umpires may as well be replaced by zombies or robots because they have to stand in one place. They don't have to do much work. They don't have any authority on the field to decide things. There is no concept of green card, red card, yellow card. Whereas in hockey and in football, the referees have all the authority. I would say not power, but more like authority. And yes, we saw a couple of green cards being given for infringement, for fouls, and then one can say there were some questionable decisions when it came to a penalty corner when the video umpire or the third umpire said that no advice possible, so we go with your decision and the team keeps its referral. So in hockey, when the on-field umpire refers to the video umpire, we can hear the conversations between the two, and then the video umpire every time when after looking at the video replays and saying that whether the video umpire goes with the decision of the on-field umpire or says that you have to change your decision, which means the team which has reviewed may get the verdict in its favor. Either way, the third umpire conveys that XYZ is your decision, you may have to overturn it, you may have to go with it, and then the team keep their referral or the team lose their referral. Every time the video umpire will say the team keeps its referral or the team loses its referral. Here you can replace a robot with the video umpire because it doesn't seem like as if the video umpire does much of a job. They are influenced by the footage provided by the production truck because they say third umpire to director, blah 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 blah. But back to this sport. If this was badminton or cricket and it was a must-win game, whether in terms of singles competition or doubles competition or whatever be the format, it would have got first page coverage like we saw with the Thomas Cup, which got the first page coverage. And unless India win the Asia Cup or even reach the finals and are assured of a silver medal, the media coverage will be as always minimal. Because right now the Indian media is more focused on either the National T20 Cup, the men's division, or the insignificant, irrelevant football tournaments like the Champions League or the FA Cup and other such tournaments. Of course, everyone is excited as we do every year because tomorrow at 11 p.m. I will not be watching that broadcast. 11 p.m. is too late, but then that's the time difference. So tomorrow at 11 p.m. Indian time, Liverpool will take on Madrid to determine which is the best football team in the world in the Champions League trophy. Will I be watching it? No. Do I care who wins? Well, if you reach the finals, which means you're both good enough to do the job, and if you can do the job, whoever wins, wins. It really doesn't matter because the way the tournaments are scheduled, the way the points are allocated, the way they move on to the next round is anyways baffling and confusing. And after 40-45 games, whoever wins, good for them. Because you have these tournaments going on parallelly, and then the coverage is almost a two-page coverage. The last page, a bit of the middle page, and the first page coverage. It shows the selective bias. There is no concept of such tournaments in hockey. Of course, there's a Hockey Pro League Champions Cup, which happens as per the schedule, and then after this tournament, India will once again play the Hockey Champions Trophy once this tournament ends on 1st June. Whether India makes it to the final of this tournament remains to be seen, and they will have to face Korea or Malaysia in the semi-finals or in the knockout stages. and both teams are strong hockey teams. So it will not be that straightforward. Of course, we may have beaten Indonesia 16-0, but then Indonesia were the punching bag. They lost 13-0 to Pakistan, they lost 16-0 to India, they lost over 10 goals to Japan. So they had already conceded over 30 goals in this tournament, which meant that beating Indonesia 16-0 was never going to be that tough of a proposition. But now India have a tough match scheduled against Korea or Malaysia, and unless they win or even are assured of a silver medal, you can forget that there will be any kind of coverage for this particular tournament. Moving on to another tournament which I feel is, well, let's talk about the semi-final to eliminator first. Not surprising as to what happened. All the emotions were on the side of Bangalore, who scored 200 runs, and Lucknow came close, but there were moments in which they could have done better. Though I am annoyed at the way at which all the pseudo media experts, the print, electronic, digital media pseudo experts have gone after a certain player because he scored slowly, because he was not in tune with the requirements of the particular run rate of over 10.5 runs per over, which is not good. They went after Rahul because he scored 80 of 60, whereas on the other hand, for Bangalore, a player scored 100 plus runs of 50 balls. But I still think Rahul's effort was good. You don't expect the likes of Rahul, Rohit, Kohli to score at a strike rate of 150. That's not their job. That's not in their DNA. But let's take a look at as to how this tournament progressed. So in the semi-final to eliminator, Bangalore eliminates Lucknow and reaches semi-final 3, qualifier 2 to set up a mouth-watering match against Rajasthan. So in short, it's the Royal Rumble. And of course, the emotions and the momentum is in the favor of Bangalore, because the way they reached this tournament and the way they exercised their potential against Lucknow. So the question is, will Bangalore reach their fourth final and get across the finishing line? Because, or will it be a repeat of 2009, 2011 and 2016 with Kohli as the common denominator, and a case of so far yet so near yet so far scenario? So in the finals of 2009, 2011 and 2016, they came close to winning the trophy but were denied twice by Hyderabad, that is Deccan Hyderabad and Hyderabad, and once by Chennai. And then last year they were denied a position because they were eliminated in the eliminator by Calcutta. And this year, with a new captain and couple of new players, they got across the finishing line as far as the eliminator is concerned. And now it's the Royal Rumble, that is tonight the match between Bangalore and Rajasthan. So will it be a repeat of the 2009, 2011, 2016 scenario with Kohli as the common denominator and a case of so near yet so far scenario? Or will Rajasthan win their second title, making it an emotional and fitting tribute to a former captain? Or will Gujarat continue to live up to a team which was new in name but outplayed everyone by signing established players in this business? Now, I read an article that Hardik Pandya has been designated as the new Captain Cool. I think we have got carried away by just one tournament. There's a long way to go. They have to be consistent. You never know, Gujarat could end up being eliminated and not even making the semi-finals next year because of the hype created. Though They did outplay everyone by signing established players in this business. They got a few players from other team after the mega tamasha, where players from other teams were released after the contract ended, and they got those players, signed those players. So it may have been a team which was new in name, but it outplayed everyone by signing established players in this business, which means, as we all know, cricket is an individual game which is masqueraded by calling it a team game. So there was no team game. Every player performs on their own individual level. So whether they signed Hardik Pandya or Rashid Khan or Shubman Gill or David Miller, these players have been playing for the past 10 years, well, most of them, and they know what they have to do. So for them, it may have been a new team, but they were aware what they have to do, which means the coaching staff doesn't have to give too many instructions that, okay, the target is 190, how will you go about it? The likes of Pandey and Miller will say, we know what we have to do. We can do the job. We have the experience. We have gathered experience over the past so many years. We have matured and we can do the job, and that's why they did the job. So the question is, will Bangalore reach their fourth final and get across the finishing line? Will Rajasthan win their second title? Or will Gujarat continue to live up to a team which was new in name but outplayed everyone by signing established players in this business? So after tonight's Royal Rumble, in which either Bangalore or Rajasthan will reach the finals of the National T20 Cup, the men's division, it will be Gujarat versus Bangalore or Rajasthan. And then if Bangalore reaches, then we definitely have a new champion. If Rajasthan reaches, then we have a one-on-one scenario, whether if Gujarat wins, they win their first championship. If Rajasthan wins, they win their second championship, even though it's been a long wait of 14 years. What will happen tonight? Which team has a higher advantage? I cannot say. Will toss make a difference? For me, toss never makes a difference. So the ideal thing would be to bat first, get around 200, and then we have seen in a knockout game, one error can cost you, or you could have a situation where you could have either of the teams batting first, being limited to 150, 160, and then the other team chasing it down with absolute authority. What will happen? No one knows which team has an advantage. Well, when you reach such a stage, I'll give it a 50-50 scenario, though the emotions are with Bangalore because they have been waiting for so long. They have already been a part of 3 finals. They have a couple of hyped names in their ranks with Kohli as the common denominator. So who knows which team will have a chance. Whichever team is able to sustain the pressure for those 3 hours has a chance of going to the finals, which means at least they're assured of one team is assured of a silver medal, the other team is assured of a gold medal. But moving on to another tournament, that is the Women's Division National T20 Cup, where each team plays once and the tournament finishes in 4 days. So look at the comparison. The men's division goes on for 60 days with over 75 matches. On the other hand, the women's division only goes on for 4 days. As I said, it's an obligatory tournament just to make a few individuals happy that yes, women are playing, but it's an atrocious format. One match is not enough because at the end of yesterday's game, where Velocity chasing 190 lost by 15 runs, but the scenario was such that they had a better run rate than Trailblazers, and therefore they went to the finals despite losing one game and winning one game. All 3 teams were at 1-all, but the better net run rate meant that Supernovas went into the finals, so did Velocity. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how this works. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's moronic. You can use all kinds of adjectives for this tournament. It's an obligation. No one cares about it. It doesn't even get 1/5 of the coverage in the newspaper or at the PPEDA level, that is pseudo print electronic digital level. It's happening because it makes the women's division happy that yes, we are playing a tournament, but 4 games overall is a joke. I'm not even impressed by the decision of the Indian Cricket Board to even have this tournament, that too in during the knockouts, the semi-finals of the men's division, and to dump it in between the break time when the teams are traveling or there's a break between 2 matches. It's a meaningless tournament. Whatever be the purpose has not been fulfilled, and this tournament has nothing to achieve. It has not achieved anything. If they had to achieve, at least they needed to have 4 teams, with each team playing the other one twice, and at least a 15-day tournament, which would have at least meant that at least the teams have worked hard to reach the finals, not even a semi-final opportunity. 4 teams, well, there is anyways no semi-finals. So at least they should have had at least 6 teams. Next year they're trying to have a tournament which is equal to the men's division, but they have been saying that for the past 4 or 5 years, but there is no progress made. It's just word of mouth and on paper. I don't see any progress being made. I don't see any effort by the Indian Cricket Board and other individuals involved to even have a tournament which is at par with the men's division. So this tournament, whatever the nomenclature be it, whatever the purpose is, it's a failed purpose. It doesn't have any kind of substance, and with an atrocious format, it's a joke of a tournament when 3 teams end up with 1 win, 1 loss each, and something as ridiculous as the net runner decides that who will go to the next round, or rather the finals. So tomorrow night the Supernovas face Velocity after all the controversial ways both the teams made it to the finals, with a pathetic format and a pathetic idea of a tournament. What is the purpose? Just to make a few individuals happy and get them off their backs? Well, it's a failed tournament in my eyes. So this ends episode number 526 on the 27th of May 2022, the final Friday of May 2022. I will be back on the 30th of May 2022 with episode number 527, the final episode of May 2022.